I'm Robbie Cumming. That's me. I think it must have fallen from this side, gone straight in. And that's me again, having trouble with a tree trunk. Wow, okay, this could be interesting. And this is my narrowboat home, the Naughty Lass. For a decade I've been exploring our rivers and canals, filming my adventures as I go. And things don't always go to plan. So much is going on, I just slipped and fell in. This time I'm tackling the Thames and the Way and Godalming navigations. I begin this journey in Windsor in Berkshire. I'll moor in Staines upon Thames before visiting Guildford. My destination is Godalming in Surrey. It's about 33 miles by water. There'll be plenty to see. So, jump on board for my Canal Boat Diaries. Oh, just opening my doors here at the front. Despite it being lovely and sunny, there's a really cold wind coming in here. It's definitely autumn, and that means my little summer open end at the front here, that needs to change. I've got to put the cratch back on, the wooden structure at the front, and also the canvas cover as well. And that will give me more space at the front. Well, drier storage because it will protect from the rain, and also give me extra living space in general. Right, that's looking good. I've got the cover on at least. So I'm ready now to carry on my journey, which is that way, but to get there we have to go up this channel here and round again. But before I cast off, I've spotted a potential problem. Just about to start the engine then, and looked at the battery monitor and it says 11 volts. The startup one's fine, because my engine will start, but the one from my domestic system, my fridge, lights, even the toilet is powered by these domestic batteries, and they've just gone flat. That means I've got to get new batteries. I'm going to be honest, I've had better starts to a journey, as replacing a battery bank could cost me hundreds of pounds. But putting that aside, I'm going to make the most of the day. Right, setting off. Breezy, it's cold, but this is quite interesting. Going around a little island here before we actually get onto the Thames. So I think this is probably the coolest way to get back out there. And the moorings here have been great. You know, there's been loads of choice, which is not something that I've experienced in a lot of other places. And even headed to Staines, where I'm going today, I don't know if there'll be enough moorings for me. Hopefully if I get there early enough. Around here, Windsor Castle dominates the skyline. It's the oldest and largest occupied castle in the world, and has been the residence of kings and queens for over 900 years. Got Eton on the left side and Windsor on the right. It's quite easy to tell because Windsor's got the castle. But yeah, this bridge connects the two, and as you can imagine, it is very popular with visitors. Although, as the autumn months and winter months come in, things do quieten down, certainly on the boat inside, so that's why probably I've been able to get a good mooring here. I've got a week or so left on the Thames. But before I join the Way and Godalming navigations, there's still plenty left to see on this river. I'm now going underneath Albert Bridge, which was named in honour of Queen Victoria's husband, Prince Albert. This bridge, built back in the 20s, replaced an earlier cast iron structure, which was damaged by traffic and developed a large hole. It's got a really funny story attached to it, because they actually had to employ a man to sit by the hole day and night to make sure no horses or carriages or people walking fell down through the hole into the Thames. And that man was looking after that hole for about 10 years. I've had plenty of jobs in my life, but none as boring as being sat next to a hole for 10 years, day and night. Well, I'm sure it wasn't the same bloke for all that time. And I suppose it paid the bills. And just like that, I've lost the sun, and there's a change in the weather. It's absolutely hammering it down as I enter this lock. So I'm going to pull in here, and anyway, I need to sort out my licence. I initially paid for 4 weeks on the Thames, but that's now passed, so I need to extend my stay. Right, I've got my licence. These lock keepers have been fantastic. They've even taken care of my mooring lines, and just have to untie and head on now into Staines on Thames. Two options for mooring in Staines. The first one I'm going to try is by a park, which looks very nice, but I have to take a left now off the river just to see if there's any space. The other option is by the other side of the bridge, but it's also by a couple of pubs, which can be a good and bad thing. Right, well, all the moorings here are free. Look at that. So I don't have any problems whatsoever. Brilliant. Boaters are allowed 24 hours free mooring here. But I've paid to stay a bit longer, as I want to get to the bottom of my battery problem. There is one thing I want to do, and that is top up the water inside the batteries. Something that I frequently forget to do, and I've been advised to do it a bit more often than I normally do. So I'm going to go and get some deionised water. Plus I get to explore Staines a little bit more. This town loves its lino, and this sculpture shows two men carrying this revolutionary flooring material, as the factory in Staines claimed to be the first in the world to manufacture it. Anyway, it's back to the boat to top up my batteries. Hopefully that'll solve my problem. Right, I'm just checking the reading for the battery this morning. The sun hasn't quite come up yet. I've had a shower, I've done my washing up, I've had the fridge running all night, and it's reading around 80%, just under 80%. That's pretty good, actually. That's what I can expect. Yeah, I think everything's solved and I can carry on with the journey, but I will keep an eye on it. This little chart is something I've worked out myself over the years. Just like a car, my batteries charge up as I move along, and from my solar panels as well. However, they won't work without deionised water, so topping that up seems to have done the trick. That's a £2 fix, instead of a few £100 for new batteries. I thought Staines was pretty cool, you know. Sorry, Staines upon Thames. And for a boater, it's really dead handy because you just moor up here and you're right close to all the shops, all of amenities, and it was a safe, quiet mooring. My last day on the Thames, got slightly mixed feelings about it because yes, it has been lovely seeing all these sights, but at the same time it's costing me money to moor up in places. Some are saying you only get 24 hours. I don't know, I'm just looking forward to being on a smaller river and the canals again eventually. This journey has certainly taken me on some twists and turns. However, here I'm missing a meander. At this point on the Thames, the natural course forms an almost complete loop back on itself, which once added an extra mile or so for working boats. Today there's a lock, a weir and a cutting, which creates a more direct course for boats like mine. Just going to pull in briefly to get some jobs done before I head on with the journey. But before I could get my tools out, I spotted a well-known barge belonging to someone famous. Timothy Spall, the British actor who's also a boater just like me. Oh, I think I recognise this boat. Hello. I thought I'd come and say hello, see as I'm your neighbour for a bit there.
Are you?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Hello Timothy, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
You too. You've moored up here for a while. Where have you been on the boat?
This year, where have we been? This summer we've been, because I just finished a job, my day job.
Yeah.
And then we went up to Oxford.
Yeah, all
And
right.
just poodled on up there and then poodled our way back. And now we're going back that way. Thing is about the river, there's that way, or there's that way.
I quite like going that way.
I like going that way. But, you know, it just is, it never ceases to surprise me and give me joy, you know. I mean, I just find the River Thames has a magic to it, and it was annoying. I thought I fell over a couple of times, a few injuries, you know.
Yeah.
And all that, we just do, don't you? Yeah. It's nice to know I can still heal. Here's Shane. Yeah, Shane, come and say hello.
Hello, hello.
This is the Admiral, I'm just a skipper.
All right.
Yeah. Thing is about water is that even if it's on a canal, as soon as you step off the land, you know, it's a different world, isn't it? As soon as you're on water, you feel like you're on a different plane. Well, you're on water.
Yeah.
But psychologically, it does something, doesn't it?
Yeah, and us boaters, we're a bit different, aren't we, I suppose, you know. You've got to be a little bit mad to have this lifestyle, I think.
Well, I think so. Anyway, we better get on.
All right then, I'll leave you to it.
Yeah, all right.
Thanks for your time.
God bless you and enjoy yourself. Keep going.
Thanks,
It's nice to meet you.
You too. From Alvida Zane Pet in the 1980s to the Harry Potter movies, Timothy Spall has had a career in acting spanning decades. And with his wife Shane, made a TV series on board the Princess Matilda. Great chatting with them. Lovely people. Well, they're boaters, what can you expect, eh? It's funny who you meet out on the river. Anyway, I need to get on with the job. I'm one of these people that likes to keep moving things around in their home and try to work out a different layout every now and then. So today I'm going to try to create a desk out of a couple of old doors. You might remember that I used these doors before to create a sofa that was awful, and I could do much better. So today I'm going to try and use my DIY skills to come up with something a little bit more solid and useful. That's not bad. Well, it's a bit rough around the edges, but that's my style. I'm quite happy with this. I'm quietly proud of myself that I've achieved a working desk. With my DIY done, I'm moving on, as there are more miles to explore. Apart from the wind, this weather is just perfect. When I set off in Windsor, I'm pretty sure it was autumn, and now it seems to be summer again. So I'm not complaining about that at all. Just going past an island. This one used to belong to Admiral Nelson. It was given to him by the Treasury after he defeated the French at the Battle of the Nile. Back then he used it as a fishing retreat, but nowadays there's around 20 luxury homes on this thing, and they've all got a little private mooring. Of course they have, because there's only one way of getting on and off. It's by boat. It does get quite lonely on the boat, more so because I'm travelling around all the time, so I will meet loads of people and click with a few people as well, but I know I've got to keep moving. I would perhaps like a companion, whether that be a female companion or a little dog or something like that, but one day, who knows. But for now, I'm a solo boater on board my naughty lass. Now it's that time of the day when I'm looking to moor up, and I've been given a bit of local advice. I got a bit confused there. The lock keeper told me moor up where the ferry sign is. Well, I should have known that's where the ferry picks up its passengers and drops them off. Right, I'll try over here where this raft is. Yeah, that's the kind of mooring for the naughty lass. Sketchy little one by a raft. With a lot of overgrown hedges and grass, and yeah, I know my place. Right, I'm all moored up safely, and it's actually not bad mooring. And I can see across the way is a lovely little cafe. And I'm hoping if they're still open, I'll have a little a drink and maybe a cake over there. And the only way to get over there from here is on the ferry. So that'll be fun anyway. Let's try that. The Shepperton to Weybridge ferry carries folk across the river, and there's been a service here for around 500 years.
Okay, so one way or return?
Return, please. Yeah, just hopping over to the cafe and then coming back. Lovely. Again. Now, I suppose I could have moored on the other side over in Shepperton, but this way is much more fun. Right, well that was almost over too soon, but I do get a return journey at least. And now I get to try whatever's on offer in this cafe. There's also some shops here as well. Well, that was a pretty nice mooring in the end, but it is time to move on. and I'm going to soon be joining a waterway that's going to take me to Guildford and ultimately Godalming, because I'm going to be joining the Way and Godalming navigations. I can't help but get excited about going on to a new navigation, one that I haven't explored before. I have no idea what to expect, and that's how I like it, but I'm hoping it will be a contrast to the Thames. Right, I've tied up my boat here in what looks like a lock. They've got to shut the gate behind me, the lockkeeper and assistant. I've got a bit of paperwork to fill in as well. But what we're doing now is to raise the level of the water where I am with my boat here, just so I can get into the lock here, Thames lock. And we're doing this because the level of the Thames itself is quite low compared to where we're going. Hello, nice to meet you. How you doing? All right? Robbie.
Thank you.
You might have to show me how this works then, because it's been different on the Thames.
Okay, yeah. So it's quite a deep lock. We've got a big hook that I'll pop down. Just pop your ropes on there and I'll take them from you. And then I can tie one up and you can hold the other one, okay?
I'm sure it'll be a mess at first, but we'll get used to it.
It'll be fine, I'm sure.
Yeah. I'll learn from you on this one, see how it goes, all right?
Yeah.
The Wey was one of the first rivers in England to be made navigable, opening for working boats back in the 1650s. It was used for transporting timber, corn, and even gunpowder from the works near Guildford. And a little later, I'll explore the Godalming navigation, which joins it. I've got one of the youngest lockkeepers I've ever seen helping me. Certainly learning the tricks of the trade. Right, cheers guys, see you later. Right, now I am properly on my way. I've been told most of what I need to know, because this is a separate sort of culture in a way. The lock gates, for example, those ones get closed, but for me, I have to leave them open from now on. The top gates just leave them open as I'm leaving them. So that's completely going against everything I've ever learned on the canals. If I'm honest, I'm not sure the reason why, but that's the tradition on this waterway. First impressions of the Wey and Godalming navigations. It's much smaller and much more intimate than the Thames. And it's that contrast that I really needed, I think, because I was just getting lost with all the other motor yachts and rowing boats zipping around. Yeah, definitely a lot quieter. But it's not all blissful boating, as problems do crop up. Right, I was just about to go through this next lock when I had a quick look at the front of my boat and realised that the fender, the thing at the front that protects the boat's nose from bashing into locks, let's say, or the side of the canal, it's just hanging off. The string on this side has just snapped, so I need to do a bit of an emergency repair before I go up through this next one. I don't know what happened with my fender. I presume it somehow had the rope attached shorn off at some stage. But I know what to do. I've got to reattach it using whatever I had to hand, which in the end was a part of my old magnet for fishing things out of the canal. Oh, right, that's done. Let's get cranking. There's a strong current here at Cox's Lock, and that caught me out. These former mill buildings next to the lock had various uses, and for a time one of them was an iron mill. It made hoops that wrapped around barrels, which were in great demand at the time. From here, I've got about 18 miles to go. I'll moor up in Guildford before reaching my destination, Godalming in Surrey. Just about to go underneath the M25. But on the other side of it, something much more interesting. It's the junction of the Basingstoke Canal, which I do plan to take on after I've completed the Way and Godalming navigations. Oh dear, it appears the entrance to the Basingstoke Canal is mostly made up of weeds and other vegetation, so, well, that'll be interesting, won't it? I guess I'll be down my weed hatch for most of that. Look forward to that. That adventure's a few weeks away. But speaking of my weed hatch, I think I might have jinxed things. I think I've got some weed wrapped around my propeller. I'm going to have to pull in literally next to this boat where some people are chatting. I hope I don't disturb their peace and quiet. This looks like a lovely little spot. It's got some weed wrapped around the propeller. Does that happen to you guys much? Yeah. Oh, it might be a bit stiff. Let's see if I can get it. There we are. Whew. Well, I think I've got away with that massively because, yeah, it's been a lot worse in the past. But, yeah, I'll go and chat to these people and thank them for letting me moor alongside. This group is from the Byfleet Boat Club, so they know this patch well. Oh, sorry to interrupt your afternoon tea. Yeah, thanks for letting me moor alongside you.
No problem, no problem.
I've just had a little problem with weed around the propeller, but I think it's all clear now.
You notice as you go up the canal, it's not particularly weedy. There's a bit of pennywort, especially as the further up towards Godalming you go, but generally the National Trust keep it under control. You may find floating islands now and again, try to avoid them, but if you do hit one, stick it in reverse and you should be able to clear your prop that way.
Be fine, wouldn't it? You refer to it as a canal. It does feel more like a canal than a river.
Right, it's an interesting situation. Basically, as you go further up, you'll hit a weir called the Walsham Gates, and at that point, the river separates, and so this section is a canal, and that section on the other side of Byfleet is the river itself, and they rejoin at Weybridge.
Right, so I'll get a bit of contrast in terms of...
Oh yeah, big time, yeah, very, very different.
Right, well, I'll leave you to it. Thank you so much. Better luck on the journey. See ya.
Bye.
Bye. That was a quick pit stop, but it's always nice bumping into friendly boaters. And it's fascinating to find out more about this waterway that's both a river and a canal. It's getting to that point of the day where I would normally just moor up, especially if I was on the Thames. I'd need to find a place pretty quickly before they're all taken, but here I feel like it's a lot more relaxed and I'm getting this rare opportunity just to take my boat out while the sun's going down, and I do love doing that. I think I can see a couple of boats moored outside a pub. I've not been to a canal side pub for a while. I think that's a sign, don't you? got a bit of a mission today, aiming to get to Guildford, because it's Friday night and I want to get out on the town. Well, whatever I end up doing, it's going to take me 9 or 10 miles of this navigation to get there, and 7 locks. It's quite a task, so I've really got to step up my game today, but hopefully I will make it in good time. For weeks I've been travelling on a big river with a steady flow, going at a bit more of a pace than the Way and Godalming navigations, and it suddenly just slowed right down. I was back to Canal speed. I've now reached the point where the navigation has a change of tune, from canal to river. It's something I was told about earlier in the journey. I'm about to go on the River Way, which joins us here, just beyond this floodlock. This navigation is a mixture of man-made canal and meandering river. And locks like this one help prevent parts of the waterway flooding if the river rises too high. Now we're on the river again, well, quite a bit deeper. Yeah, we are on the way, I'm making good progress, and it's not long before I pass this historic ruin. It's a former monastery, and it's quite a sight. This medieval priory has had many different names. It was probably founded in the reign of Henry I back in the 12th century. But there's a change in the weather and dark clouds are on the horizon. Wow, I'm being caught out in a storm now, so I'm definitely going to moor up and yeah, let it pass. Wow. Oh. And with all that rain and a slippery surface, this happens. Not good, not good. It's a major storm that's just come out of nowhere. Pouring down rain, and I noticed my camera was out on top of the boat. I had to go and get that, and when I got back on the boat, slipped on the wet side of the boat and just went straight in. Time for a shower. People often say, mostly my mum, don't fall in. There's a rule that I think one boater said to me: always fall on the boat, not off the boat. With the clouds cleared, I'm making my way to Guildford with a bit of dented pride. Right, I'm off again. Just like that, everything's back to normal, sun's out. We've all forgotten about what just happened, haven't we? Yeah. Oh, I'm not going to hear the end of this. As they say, accidents will happen. Now, for generations, a family called the Stephens dominated this waterway. They started as lock keepers here at Triggs Lock. And ended up owning and controlling the entire navigation. The last of the family to be involved was Harry Stevens, who donated the navigation to the National Trust on his retirement back in the 60s. I quite like this bit of the navigation. It's really wild, and you're sort of carving your way through all these reeds, and it's just beautiful. I guess it helps with the weather, but yeah, this is really lovely and peaceful and everything you'd want from a boat trip after falling in the canal. However, this peace and tranquility is short-lived, as I've come across something blocking my way. Well, I thought the obstacle was going to be the low bridge. It is in fact a massive log that's just completely floated across the navigation. Looks like I've got to try and move this log out of the way myself. As I was arriving into Guildford, there was a really low bridge, but that was fine. The real obstacle was a massive tree trunk completely blocking the whole of the navigation. I'm having a second attempt to push it out of the way. It's either going to work or not. Despite my efforts, I couldn't seem to ram my way past it on the boat. I certainly wouldn't be able to lift it out myself. And even with the help of another boat, who seemed to somehow get past really easily, I still ended up carrying this tree further up the navigation to where it was a little bit more open and I could just let it go on its merry way. Alright, see you later, tree. It was nice knowing you. What a day. I'm tired, hungry, definitely in need of a pint. And luckily I've made it to Guildford and I can just moor up, hopefully, where I can also fill up my water tank. It's a little wharf that the National Trust have got. I'm hoping I can get a spot here. I've got my boat sorted, moored up nicely. It's a beautiful evening, so I'm going to walk into Guildford now and see what it has to offer. I've visited Guildford before, but arriving by boat is just a completely different experience. It was quite unfamiliar. I didn't really know where I was in the town. This is the pub I was looking for. Quite special in terms of rock history, because this is where the Stranglers had their first gig in 1974, when they were first known as the Guildford Stranglers. So it'd be rude not to pop in for a pint. On a Friday night in Guildford, it was quite vibrant. It looked really good actually, a lot of the lights from the bars and the clubs, and yeah, I was just really glad that my mooring was quite away from all of that. And I've got a peaceful enough night until the storm hit. There's no sleeping when this is going on. It's so loud. Just gotta wait for it to finish. It's the last day on this journey, and I'm heading to somewhere quite special on England's inland waterways. I'm about to, today, go to the furthest southernmost point you can get to, and somewhere I've never been to before, so it's another tick on the box. But before I get to Godalming, there are things to see. Like this, a former power station which once lit up Guildford. In its latter days, it struggled to cope with the growing demand. Today, it's home to a local theatre. And as I leave the town, I join a new waterway. I'm moving from the Way to the Godalming navigation, which is about 4 miles long. Chucking it down, but this is a great example what we're seeing now, with all this sand and mud. It ends up as silt in the canal. That's why they need dredging, rivers and canals. You can just see it in the water there, just running off. Quite pretty though, colours. And yet again, there's a change in the weather, and the sun's come out as I creep closer to the end of this journey. The further I'm getting to the edge of this network, the further south I'm getting towards Godalming, it's just becoming more and more beautiful. It's peaceful, serene, all of the superlatives. Just so grateful I get to do this. And what's more, my batteries have held up. Topping them up with deionized water seems to have done the trick. I'm just about to reach my destination, the furthest southernmost point I can get my narrowboat to. It's been quite a journey since I left Windsor on the Thames. It's 33 miles and 22 locks ago. I met a famous actor who's also quite into boating, let's say. Had a tussle with a tree trunk that blocks navigation, and yes, a storm caused me to slip and take a dip. But I'm forgetting about that, because right now I'm reaching a moment in my journey which I've been looking at on the map for such a long time. This is fantastic. I'm going to moor up here for a few days, and then I will continue my journey.